Hi, this is Realtor Lee Rosa, and you have checked into Ask Lee Anything. In today's episode, we're going to be breaking down a handful of topics. This is my favorite hour of the week where really my agents ask me anything and I go off the cuff with answers. So today, you're going to have an awesome opportunity to learn about a plethora of different topics. Check all the way to the end. Look forward to seeing your comments below. Thank you. Let's get started. What do you want to talk about today?
The seller is giving hard time and you want to cut off the utility bills in the property before closing.
Yep. Okay. Isn't there a purchase contract that specifically says what he has to do?
Correct. But he's a hard person.
That doesn't matter. See, what makes this industry so interesting is that we're a contract business. Mm-hmm. And so the moment that somebody behaves like this, that's why you get a partner like Ariana. Mm-hmm. And that's the key piece of this, is understanding the contracts, studying, and knowing exactly where in the contract is. And you don't say, go look at the contract. You could take the portion, screenshot, send it, and have a conversation around it. Because people will always push the boundaries, but that's what makes us professionals, is our ability to navigate those waters. Okay. And not all contracts and transactions are going to be rainbows and unicorns. And so it takes these types of situations for you to get stronger with the contract, to have what the remedy or what the other side will look like. And a portion of this, it reminds me of a part of the class I'm teaching on Wednesday for the Miami board, which is bulletproofing a transaction. And part of the section of bulletproofing transactions is to successfully bulletproof a transaction, you must believe everything will go wrong and plan for everything to go wrong and then work it backwards to everything being perfect. And so it takes a situation like this for you to know what the remedy is. And the remedy is a worst case scenario that he leaves the utilities off, that mold grows, that the air conditioner breaks, and that title will do an escrow holdback of 125% of the remedy. And you now knowing that, you having that in your bag of tricks or your toolbox. And that's a part of this entire play, is understanding the toolbox. What do you have in your toolbox? And as a newer agent, you don't have a lot until you have a situation like this and you go, okay, scenario of this. Can you share a buyer with an agent from another company, meaning commission recognition on the MLS? If yes, who creates the as-is contract? My first thought on that, and Ari, I'll bounce off of you on this, is the only way you can share a buyer is with a referral agreement. And that's all that it would be, Cynthia, is a referral agreement.
There's nothing on the MLS that you would do anyway.
Yeah, and no, you can't do half a credit for a buyer on the MLS, I don't believe. With a listing, I believe you can co-list. But what I would do is if you and an agent from ABC Realty want to share the commission, you would do a referral agreement.
Okay.
And then be very clear in writing who will do what role if you guys are sharing the commission, meaning a 50-50. But if you were to do a 25-75, a referral, just be clear in who's really doing, who's doing the roles. Showing property, writing the offer, handling issues, choosing title, all of that stuff. not all title companies are created equal, I think is the first pillar of the conversation, because not all title companies are attorney
Right.
based. So understanding that in the first foremost is that not all title companies are run by an attorney.
Right.
So if the buyer is choosing and the seller wants representation, that's exactly what they would pay for, is representation. Now, as a course of action, I think the next step would be that the seller does a cost analysis of what does representation mean and what is the cost of representation, what are the pros and cons. I think that's pros and cons. I think that's kind of the next step. But right, it's not another title company.
That's where if there's a confusion.
Yeah.
That's where there's a confusion.
Yeah, and this pro and con scenario, would that be a kind of consultation? So that's okay, and that goes back to bulletproofing.
Right.
And professionals, yeah.
And again, bulletproofing, you don't get it until you get it, and you don't know what'll go wrong until something goes wrong.
It's almost too late.
Absolutely. And then everything's chasing, and then you're trying to figure out how to keep a deal together or how to save a client, where putting it in the net sheet and being able to share that this becomes this is the next step, is let's have a consultation so that you can weigh what all the benefits are, and is the cost worth, or the investment of the attorney worth the peace of mind. And that's how I would handle that. The conversation is with buyers that are concerned that after August 17th, that they can't afford to pay for representation. And so I think there's a couple pieces to this conversation. Urgency. Okay? If this is a concern, let's get under contract. Now, so that's the first thing. It's to now put the ball in their court that we got 3 months. If this is a concern and you absolutely want to buy and own your own real estate, then we have a runway with a deadline. That's the first piece. The second piece is that I don't believe it's going to be a cliff. That on the 17th it's over. Because everything that's on the MLS is still going to offer compensation. It just isn't going to be shared. It isn't going to be on the MLS any longer. Representing buyers will always be about out-of-pocket cost and monthly payment. Should they not be closed by August 17th, and a specific property doesn't offer a concession, which would be covering the commission, then we just don't buy that particular property. But the why do they want to own real estate, has to supersede all of this. And as long as this makes sense, principal, interest, taxes, insurance, mortgage insurance, flood insurance, and HOA. As long as that makes sense, we can still move forward. But this question is on our favor as an agent because it creates urgency. If that's really a concern, then let's get going. Let's get going. And I encourage every one of you, even online, I encourage everyone to keep your eye on neighborhoods. Are properties moving fast? Are they selling for more than list price? I don't know. I don't have that answer. I know I worked with a condo buyer in Pembroke Pines, and the market is soft. Soft. Where you can get concessions if you needed it. Properties are not flying off the shelf. But that's one segment at 250 and under, condo, 55 and older in Pembroke Pines. That segment, cold. It wasn't a year ago. It was not a year ago. It is now. So I encourage you to look at where they're looking and how fast their property is coming off the market. So you can have this urgency conversation, because maybe 9 months from now, since we're 3 months away from the NAR settlement, maybe 9 months from now, the entire market completely softens because less buyers are willing to get in the market. I don't know. But that's not for you to guess. It's for you to, with confidence, know, hey, the market is moving in this direction. It is softening. It is absolutely softening. And when the statistics come out at the end of this week or next week that we provide for you, I'll be sharing it at a team meeting. Like I did the last team meeting. I'll be sharing where we're at, what's going on, what segments are changing, what is the trend. But I feel comfortable in saying that there will still be opportunity for concessions. And a concession will cover our commission. I feel comfortable in saying it. And I'll rewind back to the most important factor in this entire conversation with this question. Most important pillar or factor is, does the buyer see your value? And if the buyer truly sees your value, they will bend and flex should there be no rigidness on the other side. If you're just kind of, oh, I'm your agent and I'm your friend and we're just going to kind of see what's out there, they'll choose the property 10 out of 10 times over you. And so here's what will happen next. Here's the process. Here's what we're going to do. This is what I'm thinking. This is the plan. Should this happen, this is how we'll execute. This is how we'll do our next steps together. When you're very clear and there's no gray or dark area, I believe you'll be able to navigate. But this screams to me, let's buy now. Let's make the move now. Let's find what we have. But knowing, is the market super hot and is it somewhat softening? Meaning you don't have to go the day it comes out and offer 1,000, 3,000, 10,000 over list price. Yeah, it's our job to navigate that, to be very comfortable in holding that conversation, using the MLS as proof. It's not just us talking. It's using the MLS to prove a case or share the resource that is our value. Manipulating the MLS. And I don't mean manipulating in a bad way. It's being able to show where they want to buy and, hey, here's how many properties are on the market. Here's how many sold in the last 6 months in that area. That is an average of blank. 6 months divided by 6 is an average. Let's now look at how many sold in the last 30 days in this area. Is that trend going up or is that trend going down from the average of the previous 6? Hey, here's where we are. Okay, now we're looking to close in the next 2 months. Let's keep our eye in the next couple weeks. How many more properties go under contract? Let's see how many properties are pending right now. Is that pending number higher or lower than what is closed on average and what has closed in the last 30 days? This is how we earn our commission, being able to work markets like this. So I want you guys to think this is a pendulum. So it's swaying either this way or it's swaying this way. A buyer in today's market has to be ready, they have to be willing, and they have to be able. Able means that they have this. They have cash for down payment, closing costs. This is what this is. Down payment, closing costs, inspections, appraisal, repairs. Because no one wants to buy a house and be house poor. You have to be able to fix an air conditioning if it breaks 2 weeks into buying a house, God forbid. I mean, that's why we do inspections, but you can't use all of your cash for down payment, closing costs, inspections, and appraisals. You can't.
You won't qualify either.
Yeah, you just have to have cash.
Yeah.
Okay? And then, does the nut make sense? This is the nut. Okay? If the numbers don't make sense, you have to find out with clarity what number does make sense. And then can we, with a loan officer, can we make numbers work?
That's what I've been trying to do.
Well, and if you can't, then they're not ready. And if they can't borrow money as a gift, then they're not willing. Not that they're bad people, but they're just not ready, willing, and able. And that's why our job is to generate leads every day. Is to find those that are ready, willing, and able. If not, we don't have a business. We're just hanging out with a license. And when the market truly shifts, which is happening right now, the pendulum is moving from a seller's market to a buyer's market. And all that simply means is that there is more inventory staying on the market. That is simply what it means to move from a seller's market to a buyer's market, is that there's more inventory available because less people are buying at the frequency that properties are coming onto the market. That's just what it means. However, it's not all of a sudden gonna be ready for them. So that's why we have to be very clear in what numbers do make sense. And yeah, unfortunately, this market has priced a lot of people out. A lot. And that just means our job as real estate agents, we have to spend a lot more time getting good at get good at providing the space. This is important. We have to get really good at providing the space to have someone feel comfortable enough to have this conversation with us. Like if we can't get a stranger to have a professional conversation about are they ready, willing, and able to buy real estate, then that's the first skill. Is being able to hold a conversation with someone that they feel comfortable sharing their passion, their hesitations, their frustrations with the market today.
They are surprised because they don't know anything about this. Like 99%
Most
of them.
people don't.
Yeah.
But that's such a beautiful thing for us.
Yeah,
It's
they
such
see
a
the
beautiful,
value.
it's our value. And so this is why I loved working with home buyers, is because most agents can't, won't, and don't have the patience to have this conversation. And it's simply walking them through what it means to be able. is having enough cash for down payment, closing costs, inspections, appraisals, repairs, and knowing what nut you're comfortable and figuring out if the cash they have can get this at a comfortable payment. Because make no mistake, they're still gonna pay a nut. It's just gonna be for rent, not for owning. So it's not a difficult conversation to have. Like if somebody's like, oh, I'm not gonna tell you what I can afford. Well, do you wanna rent? Because if you're gonna rent, you're gonna tell me what that number is anyway. And that's just a scripting and tonality conversation. But once you know, okay, these numbers, then it's what's their motivation? Are they ready? Are they in a lease? Do they live with their parents? Do they make enough money? How much money do they have saved? And then are you willing to move forward? Like, what does that look like? What is the pain of not moving forward? What is the pain of continuing to rent? What is the reason that we got in touch with them in the first place? What was that true motivation that, like, they said, yeah, I'd like to buy a house. I would like to own a house. What was that piece of frustration, of experience? Was it that their landlord jacked their rent up one more time and they were like, if that happens, I'm buying? Well, then what got in the way where they go, well, I'm not willing today? What changed? And it could be this doesn't equate to where they want to live. Okay, think of a triangle. You have price, you have condition, and you have location. Most home buyers, choose 2 out of 3. You can only choose 2 out of 3. I want to live in Aventura and I want a 3-bedroom condo. You're not going to choose the price. I want to live in Aventura and I want a single family house. You're not going to choose the price. I want a $300,000 condo. Well, where can we get $300,000 condos? And so you get to choose 2 out of 3 and you walk buyers through this. Now, another piece of this affordability conversation is this, and this is one of my favorite scripts. If we know we can only choose 2 out of 3, then we have to understand the definition of real estate. And the definition of real estate is land and all improvements done to. It's the land and any improvement that we do to it. That would be electricity, that would be plumbing, that would be a septic tank, that would be a dwelling, that would be a mobile home, an improvement to the land. So now providing a visual, and you say, I want you to imagine a beautiful 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,500 square foot house. 24-inch tile, granite countertops, visualize it with me. Open floor plan. I mean, you walk in and you go, wow, this is beautiful. On a 1/4 acre lot, land, and a white picket fence. You guys visualize it with me? In downtown Wichita, Kansas. In today's market, that probably sells for about $300,000, $350,000. Beautiful. You walk in, you and your friends and your family go, wow. Now magically, you pick it up and you move it to South Point, South Beach, where the Continuum sits right now. There's South Park right there, South Point Park. There's cruise ships go in and out. You guys visualize it? Same house sells for $300 million. It's the same house. But the land in South Point, South Beach costs an ungodly more than the land in downtown Wichita, Kansas. That's why a 3-bedroom, 2,000 square feet in Pembroke Pines sells for $800,000, and you go 3 miles into Miami Gardens and it sells for $350,000. same square footage, same house. Because the land in Pembroke Pines costs a lot more than the land in Miami Gardens or Liberty City or Brownsville or Allapattah. So whenever we see a house or a dwelling and we want to live in a certain location where the land costs more, the only way to choose a location is to put more doors on the same piece of land. And that's what a townhouse is. And that's what a villa is. And that's what a condo is. It's affordable housing. It's more doors on the same piece of land. And this is how you could help someone who's stuck. I want a house with a backyard, to become ready and willing. Walking them through after they see what it costs to live in their location. Not telling them, showing them on the MLS so they self-discover that what they want for a single family isn't in an area that they really want to, it exists, but it's not where they want to live. And for them to become, they're able, but for them to be ready and willing, they have to self-discover this. And then you can help them see that if they absolutely don't want to rent, we can buy a townhouse in the area you want to live because it's 4 doors on the same piece of land, making it more affordable. And this is part of your consultation. You walk a first-time home buyer through this, they will eat from your head. Because most agents won't do this. They'll just ignore them or stop calling them back. And this is your opportunity to take market share, help people self-discover what it takes to own property. And now they'll own their destiny instead of continuing to rent because no one sat down and helped them understand that you can only choose 2 out of 3. Price, condition, location. You get to choose. Price, condition, location. You want to live in Pembroke Pines and you want a single family house, can't choose the price. You absolutely know what you can afford and you want to live in Pembroke Pines, well then you can't choose bedrooms, baths. You can't have the 4-3. You could have a 3-2 with less square footage. You absolutely want a pool, well you can't choose the condition. You can build a pool later, hopefully. Don't tell people that because got to make sure that you can. But this is the power of the consultation. This is the power, is the ability to help buyers self-discover and become ready, willing. They're qualified, they're able, but and it's the script that I just shared with you is champagne taste on a beer budget. And that's the summary of the script. Champagne taste on a beer budget. And it's no disrespect, it's the only way to get them to become willing is to educate them. Not tell them, educate them, which means you slow down and you walk them through this exercise. And then the truth is, if you lead generate every day, this is so important. If you lead generate every day and you sit on 4 to 6 consultations every week, you'll realize that there are more people in this situation than there aren't. And then should the market slow down, what are all of those buyers going to do? They're going to then get in the market. Which means what? Well, it's not only more customers, but it's more competition.
Yeah.
More competition means prices aren't like, where is this going to fix?
Yeah.
And that's the other part, is getting them off center and having them logically understand that you waiting for that next market. I meet with 6 people every week and 3 out of 6 are saying the same thing. They can afford $3,000 a month. They want a single family house. They're not willing to buy a townhouse. You're going to be in bidding wars with every single one of them when the market that you're looking for hypothetically exists. So let's get back to why we met today, is because your landlord raised the rent another year and you want to control your destiny. So on a scale of 1 to 10, a 1 being you will never buy a townhouse, and a 10, you are strongly considering buying a townhouse. Where do you stand today? I'm ready to start finding the right ones. And would you be open to start looking at property this Thursday, or would Friday be better? And that's how I would close on the buyer consultation and start putting people under contract. Because this magical market of the future is full of competition of all the people that are thinking exactly like them. Interest rates are going to come down, and that's when I'll buy. Well, yeah, I meet with 6 people every single week, and 3 out of 6 are telling me the exact same thing. So when interest rates come down, every single one of them are going to get into the market. You heard in 2021 about bidding wars. Is that the market you want to compete in? I didn't think so. So let's do the right thing. Let's get engaged now. Man, you got me going today.
I know.
That's good. Great question. It was a ballet.
Say it again.
It was a ballet. It was a dance.
Okay.
I would try. I learned that if you fight them, you will lose every time. I want to see the property. No, you got to come in and meet with me. I'm going to lose every time. So I would always dangle the showing and then offer by asking questions whether or not they would be willing to meet with me before the sign call or showing the property. Like, for example, I would say something like this. This brings me back. It's such a good question, Larry. Brings my brain back to it. And so they would say, I want to see the property on 33rd Street. And I would say, that's a great property. We're getting a lot of calls on that. While I look it up, may I ask you a couple questions? And I would have it open in front of me, but I would still use that as a script. And say, so I'm pulling up the MLS so I could get you some information before getting you into the property. And I'm curious, is this the neighborhood that you're most interested in, or are there any others? Location. I'm going through LP Mama. I'm just curious, if you found if this home is the perfect, where were you hoping to keep your payments? And by payments, I mean principal, interest, taxes, insurance, mortgage insurance, flood insurance, and HOA. And now I'm in price, but I'm going to be working it backwards. They would say I'm paying cash. And I'd say, cool. So again, I'm pulling this up, and you would want to know what the taxes and holding costs are, right? So paying cash, where would you want to keep your taxes and insurance on an annual basis? And now I'll break it down into monthly in my head based on what they would tell me. I just want to see the property. And look, I'm going to get you into the property. My internet's slow. I got it in front of me. I'm in control. I'm a salesperson. And as a salesperson, our job is to ask questions, not be order takers. And I would continue to go through LP Mama. Now, what I found is that pushes some people away, which may be pre-qualifying in a way. And some, I would go meet them, and I would do this in person. And I would go through LP Mama, because location, price, motivation, agent, mortgage or cash, set the appointment. And the appointment would be a consultation. But here's what my clincher was, is I would say, hey, when would you like to get in the property? And they would say, today. And say, well, it's owner occupied, so I may not be able to get you in today. If I could get you in tomorrow, would you be open to seeing 2 or 3 other homes that are just like this, or would you only want to see this? Well, I'd like to see 2 or 3. I love it. I can get you into 2 or 3. Now, I guess my question to you is would you see value in looking at every home for sale by every single real estate agent? Would you see value in looking at everything and discussing the pros and the cons of each one of those with a professional like myself? And I ask this because I can get you into this property, which we're going to get you in tomorrow. But like, if you knew that there was 2 or 3 other just as good or better, wouldn't you want to know? So I guess what I'm saying, sir or ma'am, is that if we spend 30 minutes together finding the best homes on the market, wouldn't it be worth 30 minutes of bouncing off a professional like myself, getting you into this and 3 to 4 other ones? Time is money, wouldn't you agree? So let's do this. I don't mind. We can meet on Zoom, or my office is 10 minutes from that listing. We can sit down, I'll have coffee, water, whatever you prefer. We'll use my 50-inch TV, and we'll look at a couple properties. I'll schedule them, and then you'll know with confidence which are the best ones. Would you see value in that, or do you only want to see this one house?
I see value in it.
Then let's do the right thing. Let's meet together, spend some time, find the right homes, and get you inside all of them. I just want to see this one. Okay. May I ask, how many homes have you been inside? I've been inside like a ton. Can I tell you what concerns me about that? Is that you're just not sure of the best strategies and processes in today's market. And what I suggested for you is a proven strategy. You could see the value in discussing pros and cons with an agent like myself, yes? And I would do this tightrope or this push-pull with them until either they hung up on me, or I gave in to show them the property, or they came in. Because sign calls are just free leads. And it's your opportunity to dance.